Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Botswana, Dr. Moketsi Masisi, Your Excellencies, Head of State and Government, Honorable Ministers responsible for wildlife in our respective countries, other Honorable Ministers who are present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, senior government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to convey our gratitude for the warm hospitality extended to me and my delegation since our arrival to this serene resort of Kasane here in Botswana. I'm pleased to be part of this summit, which is being convened under the theme towards a common vision for the management of our elephants. To lend my voice and that of Zimbabwe to matters related to elephants in our region. This flagship species continues to attract considerable attention at the global level, sadly sometimes to the detriment of the communities who coexist with the elephants and the unique realities of us here in Southern Africa. Be that as it may, elephants are arguably a symbol of success in conservation strategies in our region and a key drawcard to our tourism industry. It is therefore most opportune that we are meeting to reflect on these important species as well as recalibrate our strategies to ensure that the appropriate benefits accrue to our nations and our respective communities. The savanna elephants, which are predominantly found in Southern Africa, constitute approximately 50% of the continent's elephant species. This bears testimony to our region's success in championing sustainable conservation programs that are expanding the elephant habitat. In addition, the region has the largest range area and elephant numbers which extend beyond designated wildlife areas to include communal areas in our areas. Our success in elephant conservation is commendable and must be duly recognized, not criticized. It is equally imperative that the global community considers the voices and concerns of countries like ourselves that are successfully conserving these species. Poverty eradication, economic empowerment, and the improvement in the quality of life of our rural communities can only be enhanced if we are allowed to trade and benefit from our God-given natural endowments. Your Excellencies, our region is championing the development of Transfrontier Conservation Area, which seek to ensure ecological connectivity necessary for the survival of our elephants. Zimbabwe remains committed to this initiative, which recognizes the movement corridors and transboundary dispersal areas. We will continue to honor our obligations and play our part in strengthening collaboration within the CASA framework, our National Elephant Management Plan, and the African Elephant Action Plan. To this end, 13% of our land area is protected under the Trans-Frontier Conservation Areas and the Communal Areas Management Program for Indigenous Resources, CAMFIRE, which we are set to invigorate to reduce the human-elephant conflict in our respective areas. my government has since increased the area where wildlife conservation is recognized as a viable land use option to about 26%. Addressing human-wildlife conflict continues to be a priority of my government. We are continuously strengthening law enforcement to combat internal and cross-border wildlife crime. My government stands ready to increase its participation in regional anti-poaching activities and strategies. I encourage all of us to continue to implement robust and versatile mechanisms in our elephant conservation toolbox. It is equally important for us to persistently put in place stringent measures to curb illegal wildlife poaching, trafficking, and trade. Local communities should be the first line of defense against wildlife crime. This can only be enhanced if these communities realize the multifaceted benefits of such wildlife. In this regard, local communities must be deemed the first-line stewards, custodians, and beneficiaries of the various wildlife resources within our respective regions. Meanwhile, we are grateful to the conservation partners and the stakeholders who are working with us in various initiatives towards the expansion of the elephant range and other wildlife species. Your Excellencies, as you are aware, the African elephant remains a topical issue on various multilateral environmental agreements, such as the Convention on Biological Diversity, Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species, and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Wild Species of Flora and Fauna, CITES. A more holistic and fair approach is, however, necessary to ensure the survival, management, and trade in our elephant species. As we approach CITES, let us therefore resolutely affirm our collective position on sustainable elephant conservation management. Let us boldly speak with one voice as a region in the best interests of our nations and our communities. The one-size-fits-all approach of banning everything under CITES, disregarding the good efforts and investments by our respective governments, is neither sustainable nor desirable. We must reject it. Your Excellencies, allow me to once again express my gratitude to our dear colleague and brother, His Excellency President Dr. Masisi, and the government of Botswana for the excellent organization of this summit. May I also take this opportunity to extend an invitation to you, Your Excellencies, to the inaugural African Union AU and United Nations UN Wildlife Summit, scheduled to be held on the 24th and 25th of June 2019 in Zimbabwe. The summit will be co-organized and hosted by my government in the resort town of Victoria Falls. This will be yet another opportunity for us to deliberate and further share our views on how we can unlock the value of our wildlife at the AU and United Nations level. I look forward to seeing you, comrades and colleagues, in Zimbabwe in June. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you for the invitation. It's now my distinct pleasure to inform you that the next summit, as this one, will be hosted by